Alright, today we have a 98 Mercury Mountaineer, which is basically the same thing as a Ford Explorer. We're going to do lower ball joints in. So I have the ball joints here. I always use good quality Moog stuff. There's the one ball joint, there's the other ball joint. I do believe that the sway bar links are also broken on this car. So I already got it up on the air a little bit. This is a 5-liter V8 model. I've already put a control arm on this car a while ago. And I noticed that the ball joint dust boots were ripped and they were getting kind of rusty. So let me get it up in the air, get the tires off, we'll look at the ball joints. I'll show you how to do the ball joints on basically an Explorers up to 2002, I do believe, are basically all the same. So I'll be right back. All right, I got the tires off. Here's the lower ball joint right here. Let me change it around so you can see a little bit better. There's the lower ball joint. As you can see, the dust boot is ripped on both sides. If you look, there's this awful lot of rusty. I don't know if I can get the flashlight up in here to let you see up in there. The ball is kind of rusty. And then, like I said, I have link pins for it because this link pin here is gone, and that one up there is split. So I've already taken the harder keys out, taken the nuts off. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to disassemble the brake. We're going to get the brakes off. We got to get the rotor off. Loosen up the axle nut. To get the axle nut loose, we're going to take loose the upper ball joint, and then we're going to have to finagle it out, and then we're going to have to hang this out of the way. Can't remember last time if I took everything out of the way and got this completely off the car. We'll just keep going and see what I do. So now I have taken the brake caliper off and I've tied it up to the spring bar here to get it out of the way. I've taken the bracket off, taken the rotor off, taken the nut off here. So now next step is take this bolt out of the upper control arm. And what I've done, I've already taken the bolt out of the upper control arm here and separated the upper ball joint from the knuckle. Now I've tightened this back on a little bit and take a hammer, smack this, and break this free. I might have to take and disconnect the tie rod and give me enough space to get out. Oh, and also too, the analog brake line, I disconnected it here to give me some slack. So hopefully I can just beat on this, get the ball joint pop loose, and then I'll be able to swing this forward and tie this whole assembly out of the way. So that's exactly what I did. I hit this with a hammer here to break the ball joint free. Then this whole assembly dropped down. I was able to rotate it around and just push it up out of the way. So that's still connected. I still have slack there on my ABS line. So now what I need to do is I need to get another tie wrap and tie this up so I have access to the ball joint down here. All right, so here's the ball joint. And there's a snap ring that we have to take off here. So once we get the snap ring off, I'm going to try to do it a different way. I'm just going to try to use an air hammer and knock it out. So as you can see, here is the new ball joint that gets pressed in this way. Out comes the snap ring. I do believe it came with a new snap ring, but we'll just save it anyway. Got to put your hearing protectors on, and we're going to see if we can knock it out with the old air hammer. Okay, well that's not working, so we're going to have to go get the ball joint press out and press it out with the ball joint press. So let me get that set up and we'll be back. Got the ball joint press on, receiver cup, top. Let's see if it'll come out now. all old ball joint out. And I'll get ready to reinstall the new one. Okay, now I have the new ball joint in the bottom, and I have the receiver cup up top. So now when I tighten this down, this will push the ball joint into where it needs to be. All the way in. Just loosen it up enough because everything always goes falling. There it is. Have a new snap ring. In to see if we have the grease fitting. We do have the grease fitting. It's a 90-degree grease fitting. Since the brake caliper hangs in the back, I'll put the grease fitting toward the front. All right. I don't know if you can really see this, but if you notice that this upper ball joint has anti-seize on it. I put the anti-seize on it when I did the upper ball joint and control arms because I knew I'd be taking it back apart, and that definitely made it easier to come back apart. More anti-seize on the shaft. Now let's lift this up. So obviously, as you can see, you have to start the ball joint first before you put the axle all the way back in. Unlike I was trying to get the axle and the ball joint in at the same time. You got to put the ball joint in first, then slide the axle in. Now I'm going to have to get a pry bar because this is tightened up at ride height to get this back in to get the bolt in. So we'll get a pry bar and get that in. So there we go. We need to tighten up the lower ball joint, tighten up the upper ball joint. After we get that done, then I'll go ahead and re-lube everything up. This one does have a grease fitting now, and this one has a grease fitting pointing forward. And yes, I can get to it nice and easily, and then we put all the stuff back together. So that's basically how you put a ball joint in. I don't think I need to show you the other side, but I'll show you how to put the link pins, the sway bar link pins in on the other side. Okay, here's another tip I do with Carter keys. You know, I still have a love-hate relationship with anti-seize, but it's always a good idea to put a little bit of anti-seize on your Carter keys, so when you put them in, next time you need to take them out, they won't be all rusted in there. So now I have the upper ball joint tight, the lower ball joint tight. I'm going to have to bend the Carter key down, put the ABS wire back in its holder. Like so. Now we just need to put the brake rotor on, the caliper bracket, put the brake pads in, and we're going to put the caliper back on, and then we have to put the axle nut back on, and I have to look up and find out what axle torque it is. So I'll go ahead and get the axle nut on there, ready to go. So now I'll go ahead and put this side back together. I'll go ahead and finish the other ball joint on the other side. Then I'll switch the camera around and show you how to do the link pins on this car. Okay, got the brakes back on, the rotor back on, everything's tight. I lubed up the ball joints. Have to tighten the axle nut. The axle nut is supposed to be 184 foot-pounds. So I'm going to do that right now. Usually what I do is I take Roscoe here, put them right there, keep the rotor from spinning, and that locks it down real good. And we're all torqued, and the ball joint and everything on this side is all done. These Moog ball joints are a little bit different the way their boot is. Their boot is all trapped up inside, and so you grease it, and then the boot pops out. So actually, I might need to put a little bit more grease in this one, but then when you steer it, it'll come on down. So there we go, there's the ball joint. I still have to do the ball joint on that side, and then I'll show you how to do the link pins. Unfortunately, I left my camera stand at home, but as you can see, this link pin is all gone right down here. So it's just a long bolt. So you put a socket and a ratchet up here, and then there is a nut and a bolt underneath here, and you just loosen it up. And then when you put it back together, you just have to feed all the bushings and the washers all back together, and that's basically how you do it. It's kind of self-explanatory. So you put a washer bushing, then the sway bar, a bushing, a washer, then the sleeve, then another washer, then a bushing, then underneath you'll have a bushing, a washer, and then the nut. You just tighten it up. You don't want to tighten it up too tight. You tighten it up too tight, they tend to split. Whereas this is a cheap one. If you notice on the other side was replaced with a Moog, and the Moog, this one's been on here probably longer than the other side. I don't know why they sent me a non-Moog one. So always use Moog. It seems to be the best ones. But pretty easy to do. I don't really think I need to show you how to do it. Just take it apart and reassemble. I don't have my camera magnet stand that will work underneath the car. So I got the ball joints in, all the brake work's up. I still have to tighten and torque down this nut on this side. So there's an overview on how to do ball joints on, I do believe from 1997 to 2002, they all had this type of front suspension. Before that, they had twin ID, and after that, they were completely different. So I hope this gives everybody an idea on how to do the ball joints. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. So anyway, I said it was easy, but nothing's ever easy. This is the sway bar link pin that was on the passenger side, and the problem is the sleeve here rusted to the center, so it wouldn't come out. So I ended up having to cut it off and then cutting the other end off to get this one out. Now the other one that was replaced, the Moog, this sleeve came off, but I had to take this side off because if you don't take both sides loose, you can never ever get these bushings back in properly. You start at the top, you stack, you know, washer bushing, then the sleeve and the bolt. Well, if you still have that side connected, when you get here, there's no room to put this bushing in. So you have to take the other side apart. So when you have the other side apart, everything loose, then you can push up on the sway bar to give you enough room to get those bushings in, and then assemble everything loosely and then tighten them up. If you notice, their bushings are not squeezed out. I just barely have it tightened up, and then I'll get it on the alignment rack. Actually, I think I'm going to drive it a little bit first and let them settle in, and then see if they need to retighten or not. I don't think so. I think I've got them tight as is. All right, well, I thought that was going to be the end of the video, but now this is the end of the video. So remember, always replace these in pairs, because you're probably going to have to take the other side apart to get the one side in, and you're probably going to break it. So always sell sway bar link pins in pairs. So all I have to do now is lube this ball joint, put the tires on, and I'm done. I can go home. So once again, I really appreciate everybody watching. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you all later.